Welcome to Chat with the Lawyer. I'm your host, Walla Blagay, and we are honored to have a celebrity in the house, Council Chair Mel Franklin from District 9, and he just was recently elected by your colleagues, right?
Right, re-elected as chair, right, for another year.
Re-elected as chair for another year, so we are honored to have you here. So we're going to discuss some major legislation initiatives in the county, specifically economic development and some other issues, which is very important to us as county residents. So welcome.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, Walla. It's good to be here. Good to see you again.
All right, good to see you too, as always.
We go way back.
Way back.
Young Democrats and back in the day. So it's great. It's great to see you. Great to be on the show.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit, like, how did you get to this point?
Well, I right after school, law school, I'm born and raised from the South, so I'm a country boy, but I moved here right after law school, came to the DC area. Prince George's County is a place to be. It's Prince George's County's reputation precedes, nationwide. People know about Prince George's County and its historic place as being, somewhere where people of diverse backgrounds can come and be successful, and that's what drew me here. And so right after law school, I moved here. I was working at the Federal Trade Commission as an attorney at the time, and got involved in the Young Democrats in Prince George's County, which then and still now is sort of a training ground for folks who are interested in serving in politics and from the Democratic Party. And so that was the beginning. And then from there, you get involved in various political and civic issues, and eventually you kind of make a decision about whether you want to serve an elected role, and you have to sort of organize yourself early and figure out if that's what you want to do. You have to really commit to it, work hard, pay your dues, and you can get there. But it was really I was really fortunate to have a lot of mentors over the years who've helped me in terms of getting to where I am. Senator Mike Miller, Wayne Curry, the late Wayne Curry, our county executive Rashawn Baker, and a number of other folks who over the years have been helpful. Senator Gloria Lawler, now I should say Secretary Gloria Lawler.
Right.
Senator Joanne Benson, and a whole host of folks, Delegate Jim Proctor, Valeria.
A lot of mentors. And
a lot of, I had a lot of help in getting to where I am. Joe Valerio, Delegate Joe Valerio, and so it's been great opportunity. Glad to serve. I love serving the folks in the community. We're trying to take Prince George's County to levels where it's never been. We're not a bedroom community anymore. We're transforming ourselves into a destination for the world. We're bringing the world to Prince George's County. So it's an exciting time to be in Prince George's County.
Wow. Well, you're a great advocate.
I try because I believe it. I believe in this county. I believe in what we can be.
Right. Well, inspiring. Well, let's talk about some of the initiatives that you foresee that are important in the upcoming year.
Well, I think the big thing we're focusing on still from the council, but also just as a county, is economic development, jobs. Okay. Prince George's County, as I mentioned to you, we've had a history of being a bedroom community. So place where you live, but you go elsewhere to work, elsewhere to shop. And the residents of the county are tired of that. They want to be able to work and shop and
work and play.
In their own county. And so we really focused on how do we create those great destinations on the commercial side in Prince George's County. And one of the things we've focused a lot on is, a lot of the great assets the county has. The county's proximity to Washington, D.C. We have 15 metro stations. We have a lot of, land that's available to be developed. And so you see now with National Harbor, which is kind of the jewel of our economic development strategy, you see how it's coming out of the ground, and it's done great over the last several years. Now MGM is going to come there. It's going to be a $1 billion resort that's going to draw people from all over the world to Prince George's County. National Harbor is already doing that. MGM is going to take that to a whole nother level. We're competing hard to try to win the FBI headquarters and bring that to Prince George's County, which would be a great victory for economic development. We have 2 of the 3 final sites that are in Prince George's County. Greenbelt and then Landover Mall. And so if we're successful there, that'll be a project even bigger than the MGM project.
Now, walk us through that. Now, we know that the county executive has probably taken the lead on that, on trying to bid to get the FBI here. Now, what else does the county need to do? What's going on?
Well, the great thing is Maryland has worked really close together to try to make this a success for not only Prince George's County, but for the state, and for the FBI, frankly. I mean, you know, Prince George's County makes a lot of sense for the FBI, both in terms of costs, but also in terms of proximity to the district. For example, the Greenbelt site presents an incredible transit development opportunity. You can get right to the District of Columbia, and you can actually go to multiple different directions, transit-wise, from the Greenbelt site. The Landover site is extremely close to the District of Columbia, so the proximity there, you have a redevelopment site where the access to DC is really great. And so what we've tried to do is to focus on all of the strengths of those sites that we have in comparison with our competing, friendly but vigorous competitor down in Virginia. Make the case with the GSA, utilizing our federal partners. They have been really crucial in this whole effort. Senator Mikulski, Senator Cardin, Congresswoman Edwards, Congressman Hoyer. We've been working really closely with and worked hard with Governor O'Malley and Lieutenant Governor Anthony Brown. And then at the county level, we've been really working to make sure that we put the county in the strongest position. So we put forth millions of dollars in terms of county incentives and support for the FBI bid to come to the county. And we've also even modified our development process so that if we are successful, the project would move quickly, and so the FBI would have certainty that they would be in a new facility very quickly once the decision's made about proceeding.
Right, and you actually changed that process, didn't you?
We did.
Okay, now explain how the reason why it was changed. Like,
well, so the county council passed a zoning bill. So zoning is how you develop. You basically, when you develop a project in Prince George's County, you have to develop based on what zone you're in or what you're zoning. Right. And the zoning process, prescribes timelines, approvals you have to get. What we basically said was with the FBI and projects like it, when it comes to those projects, you zoom through the process and you get to sort of jump to the end. And so what that'll allow is when we're competing for the FBI project, it'll allow us to make the case that the timeliness of our process is the best for the FBI. They'll be able to move quickly, reliably, and predictably if they select Prince George's County to develop the new headquarters.
Now, is there a worry that other developments will go too fast through the process, that it won't get the proper review?
Well, we made sure those safeguards were all in place, and we made sure that this was tailored to projects like the FBI. So it's not something that applies broadly. Okay. It applies specifically to projects of this kind of size that involve the federal government. And that was important because when you're dealing with federal projects, oftentimes the local rules don't really apply. And so they can a lot of times be contradictory, and it'll be confusion because a lot of federal requirements in building facilities are driven by security concerns, are driven by other federal rules that the county can't really override. Right. So we wanted to make sure that the county wasn't going to do anything that could be an impediment to the project if we were successful in winning it.
Okay, well then that's good. Now let's go back to the MGM very quickly. Sure. Now we know that the construction is going to begin, so what's the timeline? When will we see MGM? So
the timeline is going to be 2016, and it's not clear exactly when. It's probably going to be the latter part of 2016. They've started broken ground, but it's going to take time to build something on that scale. We put together a community benefits agreement that MGM and the county agreed upon, which prescribes requirements for local hiring, local minority contracting, things like that. So while they are constructing, they have to meet those requirements and then continue to meet them after MGM is in operation. So all of those are factored into the construction schedule. The state even just imposed some requirements about MBE participation from the state level. On top.
And MBE, just explain.
MBE, yeah, minority business enterprise requirements.
What is that?
And so that basically says, if you're a company that's considered falls in the definition of minority. So woman-owned of any ethnicity or race. If you're owned predominantly by someone from a particular, from a minority ethnic background, or veterans, disabled veterans, those all fall into Prince George's County's definition of minority for minority business requirements. So they have to meet certain percentages of both local and state MBE requirements as they build and operate the MGM facility. And that's true, and the state has imposed those requirements on the other casino projects throughout the state as well. But the unique thing about the county is we also have our own local requirements that other casinos didn't have. So that's gonna, and that's gonna be great because what MGM is building is much more than a casino. Their majority of their revenue is gonna come from non-casino things like the shows and the restaurants and the shopping. A lot of the things that people really like to see at an entire resort. The hotel, which is gonna be a beautiful hotel that it's gonna be visible from all over the sort of the area of DC, as you can see from there. So it's gonna be a beautiful project. But those are two of the projects, the FBI and MGM National Harbor. We're also building a new regional medical center.
Talk a little bit about that.
So for years, healthcare in the county has been a negative in terms of perception of it. So a lot of people choose to go outside the county for their own healthcare, even though they're county residents. Right. Much less people from out of the county wanting to get healthcare in the county. So what we and with the leadership of the county council and the county executive, the state, a few years ago came to an agreement with the University of Maryland medical system that they would essentially take over the operation of the regional medical center after some sort of steps in the process had been made. So we had to figure out, how do we fund the construction of a new state-of-the-art regional medical center? How do we put it in a location that makes sense for economic development, also for access for healthcare? And also, how do we put in place a structure that's going to be successful long term? Because right now, Prince George's Hospital, which, those doctors and those employees, they work hard, but one of the challenges they have is that their patient mix, which is, the mix of patients that come, not enough of them are paying patients, so insured residents. And
that should be changing with the Obamacare.
And that's the idea. And so, well, that'll change a bit, but it won't change completely because some folks aren't eligible for Obamacare, particularly if you're an undocumented resident, for example. So some folks it will change for, some folks it won't. But none of that will matter if we can't get people to decide to want to come to the hospital in the county. So if you have a negative perception about healthcare in the county, even though you're insured, even with Obamacare, you may opt to go to other hospitals, and your insurance company actually might direct you to other hospitals. So that's a problem. So the building the new regional medical center will be a state-of-the-art facility that will attract people back to healthcare in the county, which will help healthcare all across the county.
All right, well, we're going to come right back and we're going to jump into some other important issues in the county. Right. Please stay with us.
And it's really pretty too. I love it.
Dude, check it out.
Welcome back to Chat with the Lawyer. I'm your host, Walla Brigay, and I'm here with Council Chair Mel Franklin. And we were talking about the Largo Medical Center and bringing county residents back to get health care right in their own home, Prince George's County. So let's talk more about it.
And so what we were touching on before the break, we're really in the need to rebrand healthcare in the county. And so what the new regional medical center will do is be state-of-the-art, teaching research institution affiliated with the University of Maryland. That'll help rebrand the healthcare countywide. Residents will not only be comfortable going to their own hospital, you'll also have healthcare in the whole county benefiting from the fact that you'll have more medical providers wanting to locate here because of the new medical center, because of wanting to affiliate with the new medical center. And you'll also have more specialists wanting to locate here. It'll sort of create all of these great related benefits to create jobs, to create a bigger healthcare sector in the county. It's one of our sort of clusters in terms of our economic development strategy. And with Obamacare, you'll see healthcare continue to grow for the foreseeable future as more people get coverage, as more people utilize that new coverage. So we're excited about it. We are going to need our residents and our leadership in Annapolis to hold firm on the state's commitments. Governor O'Malley and Lieutenant Governor Brown committed to this partnership to build the new regional medical center. The state is going to contribute over $200 million to the effort. We need a new Governor Hogan to hold to those commitments. It makes sense from a business point of view and also makes sense in terms of the health care of our residents. So it's going to be very important that our new governor holds firm on those commitments that the state has made. We put a lot of effort and we put a lot at risk based on those commitments from the state. So we trust the state's word, so we hope that the governor will maintain that commitment.
Well, you know, it is noted that there has been articles and discussion of the cut in budget, that Governor Hogan is looking at major cuts. If, in fact, he does cut this project, are there any alternatives that the county council is looking into to attract the county residents to look into healthcare at home?
Well, we're committed to the new regional medical center, 100%. It doesn't, you know, obviously we need the state, but if the state decides to not follow through with its commitments, we'll have to step in. But we will definitely make sure that residents in the county hold our leadership accountable in Annapolis, because you know, when you make a commitment and you step away from it, folks can hold you accountable.
Right.
And so that would definitely happen if that commitment is not maintained. But we're committed to the new regional medical center. It's a necessity for Prince George's County. It's a necessity for healthcare in the state of Maryland. You know, a lot of those residents that are leaving the county for their healthcare aren't just going to the rest of Maryland. A lot of them are going outside the state.
Right. And
so the state's healthcare industry is losing that revenue. And so it makes sense from a business point of view, as well as just the healthcare of our residents, to have a high quality, state-of-the-art regional medical center here in the county. We're also excited about MedStar and the investments they've made in Southern Maryland Hospital. Right. Southern Maryland, they proposed to make over $140 million in new investment in Southern Maryland Hospital, which would it would almost look like a new hospital, would transform Southern Maryland Hospital. So that's all still pending before the state in terms of its approvals. So we're excited about healthcare in the county. I mean, if you look at that 1-2 punch, if you look at the Regional Medical Center in Largo, the renovations of the Southern Maryland Hospital in Clinton, when those happen, you really have an incredible sort of 1-2 punch for healthcare in the county. And then we still have other great hospitals in the county, like Doctors Hospital and some others. So we're excited about healthcare. It's a great time for folks in the healthcare industry to really give Prince George's County another look.
Well, now let's jump back into a quick question about the MGM. Now, you said that they're looking to get minority contractors and all that. Now, there is always a complaint from all residents about transparency. We don't know what's going on. How is the word getting out? How would if someone is watching this show, their business owner, how do they find out about it?
Well, one, we've done a number of outreach in the MGM contractor, the prime contractors, a number of outreach events related to particular contracting opportunities. So if you're in the minority business community in the county, you should have received a lot of those outreach notices. But if you haven't, what I would encourage them to do is to contact my office, because what we can do is connect them both to our Office of Central Services, as well as connect them to MGM directly. We have contact with MGM directly, where we can connect them to the process for actually being identified as a minority business supplier for that project. And they can reach my office at mfranklin1@co.pg.md.us. And they just send me an email. I'll make sure their information gets to MGM, gets to our Office of Central Services, so that they can get in that process. We want folks to have opportunities. Makes no sense to create these community benefit requirements if we don't offer up our folks to take advantage of them. And then there's been an issue where you have people talk about opportunities, but then there's a disconnect because the information isn't reaching our local business community. So we've dedicated a lot of time over the last few years to break down those barriers. So we want to see this this project and future ones, frankly, succeed at creating opportunity for our local business community.
All right. Well, let's segue into the Purple Line. Now, talk about it. What is the Purple Line?
So the Purple Line, it's an incredible transit project that would truly benefit from an economic perspective, business in the northern half of the county, and then also in a portion of Montgomery County. And it makes a lot of sense. It will connect a lot of our metro lines across the line. So there was a dream, and still is a dream, to have a transit line that goes all the way around the Beltway, just like the Beltway itself does. And that would connect the region in ways that we're not connected right now. And so the Purple Line is kind of the beginning of that. And it's an effort that we've gotten federal money for. I believe in the most recent congressional action, we got $100 million in federal money. That's largely due to Senator Mikulski's efforts, along with Senator Card and Congressman Hoyer and Edwards. But we're really focused on making the business case to the new governor as to why the Purple Line is really important. If we outgrow our infrastructure in terms of the way we live, it'll choke business away. It'll choke economic development. It'll harm our economy. And so there's a huge business reason for proceeding with the Purple Line. All of those Purple Line sites will be new opportunities to create transit hubs where you have office, retail, residential, and create these great destinations for economic development and jobs. And then the Purple Line itself would be a major construction project. You could have a lot of local minority business participation. You could have a lot of employment for local residents. So makes a lot of sense on a lot of fronts. I know it's been some talk of controversy, over the last year within the governor's race. But the election's over. I think we should focus on the economic case for why the Purple Line makes a lot of sense.
Now, how much is the county kicking in?
Well, this is a state project, so the county really doesn't kick in money in terms of the Purple Line project. We'll probably have to work to make sure it's compatible with our infrastructure here locally. But the main thrust of the money comes from the state, the private sector entity that's selected to build it, and then the federal government. So that's going to comprise the full amount of the Purple Line. It's a public-private partnership, and it's the first one done this way in Maryland because we're trying to leverage those private sector dollars. I mean, one thing you can do, and it's an approach we're going to use, I think, on future transit projects where you have a revenue stream of transit fares. You can utilize that to give a private sector entity a reason to invest in the project, and then as the project unfolds, get those revenues back, and it makes a lot of business sense. And it's something I think they've done internationally a lot of, and we just haven't done as much in our area. And so Maryland is trying to do this for the first time, and I think it'll be a great project if we can get the state to hold to its commitments.
Interesting. Now let's get into Westphalia. Now we're getting close to the District Heights area. We are in the city of District Heights. Sure. And first, let's segue into District Heights. Around this area, there has been complaints from many residents that there is not enough investment from the county in this area, the Suitland area. Is there anything coming up that we can look forward to? Well,
I think the county has committed to, and this was a big thing we did this past year, we committed to prioritizing 5 key metro stations in terms of investment going forward, in terms of development and our focus. The 5 included Suitland and the Branch Avenue Metro Station. Here on this end of the county, also included Largo, New Carrollton, and University Town Center. But the Suitland opportunity is a great one. It's a challenging one because, unfortunately, a lot of the development the way it's arranged around the Suitland site isn't compatible with transit development. So what we have to do at Suitland is redevelop and kind of reimagine a lot of it. And so that's a lot of the work that's been done over the past few years. I know Councilwoman Karen Tolles has been really focused on that, as has the county executive. So one of the first challenges, I think, was to improve sort of some of the perception issues, and particularly around public safety. And so I think a lot has gone into doing that. And so crime has gone down a great deal in the sort of the Suitland area. It's gone down in District Heights. So a lot of those efforts, I think, are going to benefit going forward. How now do we develop, in this area? And it's always been our biggest challenge, developing inside the Beltway. It's not a new phenomenon or a new challenge, but one of the big, I think, positives that we're looking at is really focusing on our key metro stations like Suitland, focusing on a way that makes sense and compatible with the development that's already here. So we want, you can't just try to create things that don't fit with what's already here. And so we're looking at, how do we stimulate clusters of the economy that makes sense here? And it's a challenge. I think the healthcare opportunity, frankly, fits well with District Heights. I think it fits well with our inner beltway areas with a lot of healthcare needs, but you also have a lot of opportunity to develop in terms of ancillary benefits to the Regional Medical Center. Of course, you have our Greater Baden, which is, they do more community health, but they've invested a lot in some of our inner beltway communities. So I think this is a great time in District Heights. I think you have a great opportunity at Suitland, but it's going to take some hard work to try to get the market and sort of a market forces to want to come and develop in our area. But it starts with some big victories on the economic development front. And I think that the biggest one is going to be the new Regional Medical Center. That's not far away from District Heights. It'll help with then being a catalyst for other projects nearby and other kind of investments. So once you start to get those victories in economic development in terms of areas that are close to the inner beltway area, you'll start to see then the benefits happen elsewhere.
Now let's go to the Westphalia. Now what's going to happen there?
So in terms of speaking of sort of getting some big victories, Westphalia project represents a great opportunity to sort of take advantage of an area that's been talked about a lot in terms of development for decades, but nothing has ever quite take off. So it's sort of that area just outside of the Beltway, adjacent to Pennsylvania Avenue, adjacent to the Beltway. Incredible location, incredible opportunities, but you have a lot of infrastructure challenges. So what we finally gotten is a good development partner in the Walton Company. They're Canadian-based. They've invested a lot of resources in reimagining that area as kind of a residential, commercial, office job related mix of development. And it's going to unfold over probably a course of 10 or 20 years, but it's a massive project that'll create some amenities for residents who a lot of times haven't had those kind of amenities. And so it's a great opportunity. It'll create a lot of momentum. And it's just another example of some of the big steps we're moving forward with. That's a $2 billion project, I believe. If we were able to win the FBI development, that's another $2 billion project. The Regional Medical Center is almost $700 million. The MGM National Harbor Project's over $1 billion. So you start to see a lot of these major projects happening in our county in a way that hasn't ever happened before. Right. And so that's why I say it's an exciting time to be here, not just in terms of living here, but also to work and play in Prince George's County. We're really, really happy to see that momentum, but the best is yet to come. A lot of these projects are still on the way. We know folks want to see them happen. So it's going to require some patience, but I think if you look at our county in 5, 10, 15 years, it'll be an incredible change for the better in a lot of ways that people just can't really imagine yet. And so it's something to be excited about.
Well, thank you so much for coming on this show. We have learned so much about what's going on in the county.
Thanks for having me.
Have you come back on and give us some updates?
Absolutely.
So let us know if we want to contact you. How do we contact you?
So the email address I gave earlier, mfranklin1@co.pg.md.us. Okay. If they want to call, the office number is 301-952-3820.
All right, well, thank you.
Thanks for
and if you want to see more videos or want to contact us, you can go to our website at www.wallablegay.com, or you can contact us at chatwiththelawyer@gmail.com. Thank you for joining us.